Welcome back, people. Welcome back. It's been a very, very, very long time, but I gotta say, it had to be done. It had to be done. I got people like Monts, man like G, and man like JJ telling me that I need to restart this channel, and look what happened. It's come to this. It's come to this, man. And I've got to big up everyone that's giving their support. Big up to Retired Latin. Welcome, bro. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's nice to see you. Obviously, a big member of the Coppish community. But yes, like what can I say? A lot's been happening since our last coming. A lot has happened. Liverpool became shit, and we're starting to sign some players. We are starting to sign some players. And look, all I could say is big up to Jorgen Schmadtke. You know, I wasn't familiar with your game, my friend, and now you're giving me some humble pie. Big up Dennis the Great, man. Big up to him. I'm not saying too many bad stuff, man. I'm not saying any bad stuff. You know, Szoboszlai and McAllister, and looks like more's to come, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Actually, we won't get to it. We'll start with it right now. We will start with it right now. And firstly, I want to do is talk about our recent signings. And where should I start? Got to start off with this man. This man right here, Dominic Szoboszlai. I'm very happy with this signing. I am very, very, very happy with this signing. This is a guy that I've talked about for a very, very long time. He is a guy that I thought in the future will become a very, very promising player. And it so happens that Liverpool thought the same thing. And now we've gone and signed him for a possible fee of 70 million euros, which is a lot of money given the fact that we are Mr. Krabs FC. But I had to give my praise to Liverpool. They've gone in, came up with tried to negotiate it down. Leipzig was saying no. And then all of a sudden, we'll play the release clause. And now we've got our man. And look, I know a lot of people have been saying a lot of bad things about Henderson, saying, you know, Henderson's not the guy. Moving forward, he's not going to be that guy. But look, forget about Henderson. Forget about Henderson. Just imagine bringing someone like Szoboszlai in those positions. That their technical ability, the flair, the vision, everything. It's a match made in heaven, man. It's a match made in heaven. And he wanted Liverpool. Main thing was Jurgen Klopp. He always said this before. The three managers that he wanted was Mourinho, Klopp, and Guardiola. Obviously, we have one of those managers. And look, he did his thing, man. Klopp did his thing, sweet talked him and did everything. And now we have got him as our own Liverpool player. And I can't say anything more. I really cannot say anything more. And obviously, this is the day that Fernando Torres signed my first ever heartbreak in the history of football. But we don't stop there. We do not stop there. It's not only that. We also have to mention another player. Another player that has joined the Liverpool family. And look, I was most happy about this player coming in, and it's now a thing now. Our new number 10, Alexis McAllister. Alexis McAllister come in at £35 million, triggering that release clause. Again, a great bit of business from Liverpool. Pay the release clause straight up, and we got our signing. You know, it's as simple as that. And we're asking for a player that could do the little bit of the how can I say, the Thiago role, the little bit of the ball handling, the ball player. Well, we've only gone and just signed a very, very talented player. We obviously saw what happened with Argentina, a massive cog in their system in allowing them to win their first World Cup since the days of Maradona. And look, man, there's been so much talks about Liverpool and this new midfield, and now we've gone and signed two midfielders. But that's not the end of it. My personal opinion, I still think we need another midfielder, and we need a left-sided centre back as well. But we'll get to that. Let's get back to the comments right here. We'll bring up we'll bring up some of the comments right here. Big up to yourself, Psychedelic Scientist. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Big up Allier in the chat. I think next we're going for Lavia, with ending our interest in both Thuram and Gravenberg. I will get towards Thuram and Lavia in a second. Obviously, he talks about Lavia. Lavia is our next target. Okay, midfield, we've made our decision, but it's very weird how much groundwork we've done with Thuram that we just ended our interest, but I am not complaining. We'll get to that later. Big up John Conway. Big up yourself, big man. And on Szoboszlai, I think it was either Szoboszlai or Thuram, and we have chosen Szoboszlai. Yeah, I think so as well. You're big up Ozan Kabek in the comments. I always seen you in Igal Talks Football. Big up your damn self, my friend. Hope you're doing well. And obviously, it's a little bit of hate here. ZX in the comments saying Szoboszlai is a Shootinho region. We haven't had shooters for a very, very long time. We haven't had shooters. So if he's a Shootinho region, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. We need that takeover. Like me and my boy JJ says all the time. He has that takeover gene. If he has that, I'm all for it, man. 35-yard bangers, I'm all for that, my friend. You know what I mean? Ozan Kaba, big up your damn self. Your Rams, who starts in our midfield next season? And is Trent one of them, or remains as inverted right back? Personally, for me, I think he's going to go for the inverted right back thing. I'm still a little bit concerned about him playing midfield. I know he's done well for England. Granted, it was against Macedonia and Malta. But if he's playing well and inverted right back, keep him to that. And I think with the signings that we're making, the likes of Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister, we are going to go for that inverted right back thing. Allier, big up Allier. Our next target is Romeo Lavia. It looks like it, my friend. Psychedelic Scientist, big up yourself. I'm well, my friend. Thank you. Hope you're also well next season. Is looking promising. It is. It is. No, even the most skeptical Liverpool fan or the pessimistic Liverpool fan cannot say it doesn't look great. With the signings that we've made prior, which everyone was crying about, they have to be before pre-season. We've done that. We've done that. McAllister in before pre-season. Szoboszlai, I'm not really too concerned if he was taken in before pre-season or during, because he obviously got that Red Bull gene. But hopefully Lavia might be next. And ideally it's left-sided centre-back as well. But we'll have to wait and see. And Allier, the comments, I'd rather Thiago Stays and we get another centre-back. Again, we'll get to that. We will get to that. But firstly, we've got to talk about the big news. The big news. And I'm gonna shut this down real quick. I'm gonna shut this down real quick. I don't see this happening. I do not see this happening at all. Look, I am all for Henderson getting a limited role in the team, but knowing our football club and knowing how the club runs, I don't see Henderson making his way into Saudi Arabia. I really don't. I know everyone will be killing me in the comments saying we need to get this guy out of my team. I'm just coming from my point of view. I do not see Liverpool getting rid of Henderson. I think Klopp wouldn't allow it. And like people said on the Twitter, have we ever seen a club get rid of their vice captain and their full first team captain? I've never seen it. So I don't think Liverpool will follow suit in that situation. I really don't. So I'm just going to say it full out. I'm going to shut it down right there that this signing will not happen at all. But first, we've got to talk about the big news. We've got to talk about the big news right here. And the big news is, if I can get it up on my screen, is this, which broke my heart. It broke my heart seeing this happen. I know how much people know about me knowing this guy. Khéphren Thuram was a guy that I've wanted for quite a bit of time. I think he's an incredible talent, and I think he could be a massive asset for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp moving forward in the future. And seeing this news does hurt me a little bit. It does. I can't lie. I can't lie. It does hurt me. The fact that we've done all the due diligence. From the sound of things, Lillian, his dad, has been very positive with these rumors and saying that we should be going in for someone like a Khéphren Thuram and thinking that his son's development will be best suited at Liverpool. It's a heartbreaker. And the people, whether they rate him or not, if you go off the premise of PMP, 6'4", incredibly quick, very technical with the ball, and incredibly physical in the midfield, I think in the future he's going to be a problem for most teams. I really, really do. I think this guy could be a massive problem for most teams in the Premier League, because most midfielders aren't 6'4" tall. Most midfielders aren't as quick as he is. Well, some of them are, but with his height as well. I don't know. I'm a bit down about this news, man. I really, really am. But in other cases, we have this news coming up. Thiago Alcantara. Thiago Alcantara. As it says on the screen right here, according to our man David Ornstein, who broke out the Szoboszlai news, Thiago Alcantara has rejected a formal offer from Saudi Arabia in recent weeks. Proposal was to 30-year-old's camp, nothing to Liverpool yet. Despite contract ending in 2024, midfielder expected to stay at Liverpool as things stand. And this is a bit of a tough one for most people. People don't know what to make of this, because obviously people have contemplations about his fitness, the fact that he's always injured whenever we need him, and he just only plays around about 25 games a season, which is, frankly, for a player of his quality and as a team like Liverpool, we can't afford that at all. And given these circumstances, is he a player that we could rely on? Is it worth getting as much money as possible at this moment and trying to find a replacement who would be a project for the next couple of years? It's a big question, but if it was, like I said, if it was up to me, I would like him to stay. I would like him to give them as much experience to players like Lavia and people like that. But that don't mean we don't sign another midfielder. I would say sign a midfielder, then loan them back to their previous club for the season. And then when Thiago runs down his contract, the other midfielder can come in and fill in his place. That's how I see it. That's what I believe a big club would do. That's what I believe a Liverpool Football Club should do. But we don't act like a big club, so why should I expect my team to do something like that? That's as simple as that. Allister saying that Thiago wants to stay. Maybe he does want to stay, but if he wants to stay, he has to be as consistent as he is on the pitch, man. Because even though he is a world-class footballer, he needs to prove it on the pitch. You can't be a world-class footballer but not prove it on the pitch, in my opinion. I doubt the move happens. Saudi wants the league to grow. I think this is about Henderson. I think so as well. I don't think it's going to happen. Ozan Kabak saying, I hope Thiago stays, but there's a lot of reports that he wants out and is tempted by that Saudi bag. Look, the window's still open. It's literally just opened a couple of weeks ago. So a lot of things can happen. But that Saudi money is good money. Like, it is very, very good money. And not many people can turn a blind eye to it. Only person that I know is Luka Modric, but Luka Modric has a certain belief about football, and he's that kind of player that will do something like that. Allier, the dream is to sign a CDM. Is Florentino Luis from Benfica, maybe out of the blue signing for the CDM? Maybe, but given the recent negotiation history with us and Benfica, I do not see this happening. I don't see us signing a player like Florentino Luis because of who Benfica are. They will ask for a lot of money. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we were looking at Antonio Silva as our other centre-back option, but a club like Benfica, they'll just ask for about 80 to 60 million pounds, 60 to 80 million pounds. It's just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'd rather negotiate with a team like Sporting Lisbon, who would offer their player for around about 40 to 50 million pounds, given our circumstances. But again, that is Liverpool Football Club. I hope Klopp only plays Thiago on big Prem games like Merseyside Derby, United, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, etc. Maybe, but then I'll throw this back at you, Ozan. Like, when we were playing in that League Cup final, when we needed him the most, he wasn't available. When we needed him against Spurs at the White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in December, he wasn't available. Granted, it was coronavirus, but that's besides the point. When we needed him against Chelsea, he had a hip injury. Like, there's some points where you can't rely on the guy. Like, whenever we need him, he's not available, and whenever we don't need him, he's available. It's just how the rules work. It's just how Thiago works. That's how he works, and it's annoying. Ali saying he has a release clause, Ram, and he says it's £35 million. Then it's a bit of a different story. But again, I think Jurgen Klopp wants to go for more of a tried and tested person. I think because Lavia has played in the Premier League, and one big thing, and I know big up Callum from Coppish wants to talk about it a lot, he's homegrown. I think that's why Jurgen Klopp is looking at Lavia a lot more and is very, very convinced with him. And there are kind of similarities between the likes of Lavia and Thiago, I think, in terms of their press-resistant kind of flow that they have. But look, we're just going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. Big up Jazz, man. Big up Ram. Good to see you doing more content, bro. I was kind of forced to do it. People have been on my back telling me you just have a channel just collecting dust. But, you know, I had to listen to them, man. And certain people were like, do your content again. And like, I had to do it. I had to do it, man. I had to do it. But on the news, back to the news about Thiago. Do you think, and I'm going to put this out to the comment section, do you think we can afford to get rid of Thiago? We're not talking about experience. We're just talking about player profile, because we've already got McAllister. We've got someone like a Szoboszlai who's more of an advanced midfielder. Do you think we can afford to get rid of Thiago for as much money as possible? Because if we want to go after the FS3 structure, they'd like to sell high, buy low, and sell high. That's how they are. And given the circumstances that we are a selling club to an extent, where we want to sell our players for maximum profit, with the money that Saudi are going to offering around about 30 to 40 million, it's hard. It's hard not to say no. It's hard not to say no to the offer. Like, he's 32, coming up to 33 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and he's not going to get any better as well. And I feel as though he's just going to decline all the way down, man. Like, he is coming up towards the twilight of his career. He's only got a couple of seasons left in him. So it's a question. It's a question that I've got to put up to the people, man. It is a question that I've got to put up to the people. Ozan saying yes, but not without further signings. If we let him go, but don't sign 2 more players, we are back at square one. 100%, 100%. And that is the main point of fact. That is the main point. If we're going to sell Thiago, we've got to have a replacement ready for him. We've got to. We can't go into a season selling one player, but then not replacing that certain player, because we already lost 4 midfielders. If we lose 5, we have to replace them with at least 4 midfielders. If we said we wanted 3 midfielders when we saw we're getting rid of 4, we have to get 4 if we're going to be getting rid of 5. It's as simple as that, man. It is as simple as that. Now, getting on to the next news, if my laptop will allow me to get on to these next news, it is about Romeo Lavia. And it is from the man himself, Mr. Fabrizio Romano, if it will come up for me. There we go. Fabrizio Romano saying, Liverpool have been in contact with the agents of Romeo Lavia for 2 weeks, still ongoing. He's high on the list, considered as a top talent in his position. Sources expect LSE to open talks with Southampton soon, as there will be competition from Arsenal and Chelsea for him. Now, we all know he's an incredible talent. He's 20 years old, so he wouldn't have to be registered as a player. So that's even more of a benefit for us. And the main problem with this issue is, I think Southampton would want a bidding war from big clubs. Obviously, they like to talk about the buyback clause that City have put on their player, and they like to talk about how they want Chelsea and Arsenal to be involved, because obviously there's talks of Arsenal getting rid of Partey, and there's talks of Chelsea needing a DM, because the news about Moises Caicedo is not progressing any further, and he's looked as a backup option. The way I see it, if Liverpool desperately need this guy, we're gonna have to act quickly and act opportunistically as well. That's the only way I can see us making this move. Like, it's a case of we need more people to come in and do the job for him. And seeing as though Lavia is getting a lot of suitors, we're going to have to act quickly as soon as possible. Ali saying here, Ram, the problem is we've made significant progress with Lavia and his camp. He wants us. And that's we're talking about Lavia. Big up JJ in the comments. I will post you the link, my friend. Give me but a moment. Give me but a moment. Here we are. It should be in the group chat, mate. But yeah, don't worry, man. The link has just been sent through. If you can come in. But on the Lavia team, it is the case of we've got to act quickly and opportunistically, and we've got to move in a certain way, like we did with McAllister, where we took the opportunity of signing a player that is ready and willing to come to join Liverpool, because he obviously wants to join Liverpool. He has expressed his keenness about Jurgen Klopp and the system that we play, and he's also very keen on the fact that we are a club that would be a benefit for him in the future. It's as simple as that. And I think with this signing, it could be a great replacement for Fabinho, because we have to be realistic. Fabinho at this moment is a player that is on the decline at this moment. But we'll get to that later. I've got a big in my friend, my brethren, who was one of the people that were forcing me to restart my channel. And I've been bugging him on his channel to get me onto his stream. I got to do the same as well, man. I got to do the same as well. Man, like Jerry James in the house. What are you saying, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Like, been flipping busy, man. Like, all over the place. Been running around. Yeah, I meant to talk about. There's loads of stuff's happened, man. Loads of stuff happened. I mean, I broke the Szoboszlai news on my channel, and since then, haven't had time to do anything. Big up to everyone in the building. I think it's important always to remember, Ram. It's the OGs that start, man. Regardless if there's 20 people, 1,000 people, and the people that I hear now, they're the one that count, man. So big up to everyone in the building.
100%.
Ali A, Ozan Kabak, big up to your damn selves for being in the building. Yaskaran Sandu as well. Big up to Yaskaran as well.
Yeah, man. But I've got to start off with, because you were the first people that talked about it. You were the first people. Everyone didn't want to hear it. We've got to talk about it. Mr. Thiago Alcantara.
Yes,
I've
sir.
touched on it a little bit, but I've got to give you your flowers, man. You were the first people that were concerned about the injuries, because no matter how good the player is, and no matter how amazing he is with the football at his feet, what is he going to do if he's not going to see pitch? What is the point of him having in our team if he's not going to see pitch? Because he's your kind of player, JJ. He is your kind of player. A little bit of flair, a little bit of Jogo Bonito about him. But what's the point of him or us donning him as a world-class player if he's not going to prove it on the pitch?
Yeah, man. I can't look at him like a world class. He's not world class. Let's just put it there. He's not world class. I think very, very good player. You can use the adjectives of world class talent, potentially world class ability. But for me, you're not a world class player. Reason being is what separates world class players from very good players is the fact that they can do what they do on a consistent basis. We've seen Patyam Kasani get one on the chest and volley it in. We've seen Andros Townsend scored a ridiculous volley, half volley, against City from like 40 yards. That we've seen it. The reason why they're not world class is because they don't do it every single week. Thiago doesn't do it every single week. Partly that's down to obviously availability, which is obviously a massive issue. The other part is he just doesn't do it every single week. If he did do it every single week, he'd still be at Barcelona. If he did do it every single week, he'd still be at Bayern Munich. They wouldn't have been as reluctant. They would have tried their hardest not to let him go. Look how Bayern are moving with Gravenberch.
It's a fair point. Like,
look how they're moving with Gravenberch. Like, whereas with Thiago, it's all right, you can go then, because they know he didn't play every week, so he's not a key component to what they're doing. Yeah, great addition, really nice to go and have. You know what I mean? Really nice to have him about there. Do you know what I mean? And doing his thing. But come on, man. Like, this is just he's not available. And look, I was in the background and I heard you had an interesting point talking about, look, we need to replace Thiago. In actuality, we don't need to replace Thiago.
Recreate him. Are you saying recreate him?
Not only that, we don't need to replace him if he goes, because remember, we were dealing with a midfield that was chronically injury prone, where Ox was always injured, Naby was always injured, Curtis Jones was injured for a while, I couldn't get in the side. Bajcetic wasn't in the picture. Thiago was injured. Henderson was getting on. Milner was like, we don't need that. Now that we've brought in 2 players in Szoboszlai and McAllister, even if you were to start the season with Henderson, Fabinho, and Jones as an example, right? You've still got now 3. You've got 4 midfielders if you want to put in Morton. 4 midfielders that are still available. Now, that begs the question, do you think that's adequate enough depth? That's a different question in terms of quality-wise. But in terms of numbers, we've got more than enough. We've got more than enough without having Thiago there. If I told you, yeah, we're going to start that season, but McAllister can replace Jones, Szoboszlai can replace Henderson, and you've got Fabinho there, and Bajcetic can replace Fabinho. That's without getting Lavia. That's without getting Thiago. Remember, we've always had numbers in midfield. It's just they weren't available and we just don't deem them good enough. It's never been a case of like, Liverpool have no midfielders. Like, we've got no one there, no one to play there. Yeah, we've always had players to play there, but they've always been injured.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a completely good point. That is, like, last season was a prime example. We had literally no midfield. We had no midfield. We had no Keita, no Thiago, no Ox, no. Who else wasn't available? Jones wasn't available for a period of time, and we still somehow got through it. And even then, when these players were coming back, they still weren't at the level to take us forward. They still weren't at the level to keep us challenging. And people, from what I've heard from other people, saying like, "Oh, we can't get Lavia because it was stopped by Bajcetic growing." I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. And do you know what else is great about Lavia coming in? JJ, we're talking about life after Jurgen Klopp. What happens when Lavia comes in? A manager comes in and has 2 incredibly talented defensive midfielders to pick from. 2 midfielders who are also homegrown, who's a massive asset in the Premier League. Let's not get it twisted. We all know that the likes of Mount, Gallagher, and people like that are overpriced, but that's not their fault. It's the fact that the homegrown quota is a big thing. I know Callum gets corned for it, but it's such a big thing. It's a massive advantage. If you can register 8 players, that is of the quality. That is a massive advantage you could have with your team. And we need to start doing. We still need to start doing these smart transfers, because last season we signed Darwin Núñez for £85 million, and we're looking back on it. It wasn't a smart transfer. It wasn't transfers, because now we're signing Cody Gakpo, who's playing as a striker, who's a better fit, who's now the new Firmino. Like, I don't know what to make of it, man. I really don't. And I think hearing on the spaces all the Thiago, I like to call them Thiago stands on the spaces, saying, "Oh, we should sign him forward. We shouldn't be selling him. How can we have bums like Henderson and Jones still in the team, but Thiago's got to go?" It's because Thiago can't see pitch. I give as much slack as you want to Henderson and Jones. At least they're available and ready to come on.
Facts.
Whenever we needed a player to come in and do their thing, Jones came in. Jones stepped up. Jones stepped up in the last 10 seasons. The reason why we had a top 4 push and people thought we're going to get top 4 is because Curtis Jones was performing. Whilst Thiago, let's be real, JJ. The only time we can measure Curtis Jones and Thiago together was that Arsenal game. But who had the better game, JJ?
Curtis Jones. Like I said, it's you're better off. There's no point in having a player. Look, he's just. What I mean by useless is, yeah, in theory, it sounds great having a Thiago you know what I mean? The Thiago in team. Oh, big up to Brazy as well. Big up to Brazy. Big up to the damn self. Elliot. We've still got Elliot in midfield. So we don't need Thiago. Like, we don't, ultimately, in terms of numbers, we don't need Thiago. The question is, do Liverpool look at Thiago and think, wow, you're such a massive part to what we're going to be doing? I do believe if you splash 60 million on a Szoboszlai, unless things were to go pear-shaped, right? He's your marquee signing in midfield.
100%.
If Szoboszlai is the marquee, he's going to play at the end of the day. Like, the aim is he's going to be a starter. McAllister comes in. The fact you got that done really early, I think the profile of player, I think his age as well, means he might be competing, but he's aiming to become a starter. That's two places. I don't think they look at Thiago as a starter anymore, because if they did, you don't go and bring in someone to challenge him in that same in that same mode. You go and buy a player that can just supplement a Thiago. We bought a player that's going to directly challenge him, and you're talking about a player in the twilight. I mean, in his twilight years. Yeah, I think for Thiago it's over, man. I think for Thiago it's over. I think Klopp doesn't trust him anymore.
I agree. Do you know what personally for me, what really puts this forward? McAllister. I thought when Liverpool signed McAllister, Thiago might be heading out the door, or they're going to start pushing McAllister in, learning from Thiago. And then McAllister is going to be that guy. Because let's be fair, in all seriousness, McAllister has the ability to ball hand. I like to call him as a ball handler rather than a dictator. He likes to keep the ball well and play it off to other people. But he's not has that dictator trait, but he can work on it. And that's why I say if we put Thiago in there, maybe train off Thiago for a year, I'm more than happy. But I certainly agree. I think Klopp had a lot of patience with Thiago, but I think that patience ran out last season, especially when we needed him the most. He just wasn't available, man. So that's how I see it. Big up to Psychedelic Scientists saying Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott more potential than Thiago, and they had more goals and assists last season. I don't know about if they'll reach the heights of what Thiago did, but the only way I can see is Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott going up in their ability. Thiago, what I can see is just him starting to slowly decline into the twilight of his career, man. And I don't see him as a Luka Modric or a Toni Kroos. More of a Toni Kroos than Luka Modric, but I don't see him as a Luka Modric. Because I guarantee you, we would take Luka Modric in our team. We would take Luka Modric in our team. Everyone would have taken Luka Modric in their team. Unless you're Pep Guardiola and Man City, you would take Luka Modric in your team. Is Thiago at that level?
No. He's not, because he can't. If you can't do it consistently enough, how can I compare it to someone that does it week in, week out and has been doing it since he was like 22?
You can't compare it.
You can't. So yeah, man, it's peak.
It's peak. It is what it is. Big up Brazy, man. I had to start my channel. I had to do it. Like G, JJ, Mons, Tom. All of them pushing me to do it, man. So I had to do it again, man. But big up to yourself, man. Big up Realism Jared in the house. Fab, Szoboszlai, McAllister, likely starters in a 3. Jones, Hendo, Elliott, Bajcetic, Morton are 5. 8 without Thiago and possibly Lavia. That's the list. That is the list that we have. Where does I think we'll sell Morton. I think Morton might be sold. But again, I think so. He'll be sold. I think, seeing as though he's got that experience with Blackburn, I think he might be sold to a championship team, in my opinion. Yeah, I think. Where does he play? Or was he been loaned out? Has Morton been loaned out to Dundee?
Has he?
I don't know. I thought that was Reece Williams that got loaned out to Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, yeah.
Yeah, and I know Leighton Clarkson got sold to Aberdeen as well. So I think, I'm not sure. But if he isn't sold yet, I expect him to be sold. I don't see a future with him at Liverpool. I just don't think we have the patience, or he doesn't have the ability to be a Liverpool player, in my opinion. But that's the nooks and cranny of the situation. We are who we are. We are wanting to challenge for league titles. You have to be at that level. It's a sad reality, but it is what it is. Like, but on realism, Jared's point, we've already got likes of Fabinho, Szoboszlai, Allister, Jones, Hendo, Elliott, Bajcetic. And if we're getting Lavia, do we even need Thiago just based off numbers? Do we even need someone like a Thiago? Because let's be honest, right? This is his last year of his contract. So he will go on a free. This is probably the best time to get as much money as possible. And if we're going to go off FSG's philosophy, they want to try and maximize as much profit as possible. And I feel like the only profit we can get is from the Saudi league, because I don't think Barcelona wanted to come in and get him. I don't think Man City or any of the team with that caliber would want to get him. I don't think Madrid are after him. So where else does he go? Like, JJ, you have to help me out here. Like, what do we do? What does he do?
If Liverpool don't if they don't think they can make enough money on Thiago, I think he stays, because I don't see him going anywhere else apart from Saudi Arabia, unless an Atletico Madrid come in for him, something like that. But I don't think he's just not available. That's just the problem. He's just always injured. Maybe somewhere in Italy,
in Inter, Milan,
well, Inter,
both Milan clubs.
Both Milan clubs, maybe Juventus.
Yeah, Napoli, maybe.
But
like, would they even want him as a profile? I think they're going to go for more of a younger team.
That's the thing. It's just, unfortunately, he's just Thiago, at his best, can be very, very, very effective. But how effective is he over the course of a season? Not really.
But we saw it. We saw it in the League Cup final. I mean, the FA Cup final. If you're going to go off the League Cup final, FA Cup final, it's chalk and cheese. We actually played a lot better with Thiago in the team than we did in the League Cup final without him. 100%. Because in the League Cup final, we didn't deserve to win that game. No way we didn't deserve to win that game. FA Cup final, there's a debate. There is a debate that we should have won that game. So we're not saying Thiago is a crap player or like ability-wise, he should be going. But it's the fact of when we need you the most, when we need you, you're not available. And like, JJ, I want to bring this up, yeah? Do you remember when we were challenging for the quad and we had a really bad run of form during that late November, early December, where we played against Tottenham, we played Chelsea, we played, I can't remember who else we played. I think we played Newcastle or something like that. But or maybe even West Ham. That's the time when we needed him. That is the time when we needed him to come in. That is the time where we're like, Thiago, you're our guy. You're the guy that could turn things around. But then he had a hip injury. And I get granted, a couple of games it was Corona, but the hip injury, like against Chelsea, we needed you then. We really desperately needed you. Like it showed. We had Henderson and Milner. We had zero control after we scored. That's when we're like, Thiago, do your thing. Control the midfield. Control the pace of the game, because we can't deal with this. But he wasn't there.
And look, let's just be honest. It's not like he's come in, right? Like, I'm going to be deadly honest. Have any of you guys in the chat, you as well, Ram, have looked at Thiago and said, oh my God, like when he plays, it's like a Suarez impact?
That's a different story. Suarez impact. Suarez, the kind of was
a Salah impact, a Verge impact, an Alisson impact. When they first came, and we've never had that with Thiago. But we've never had that from. There might have been one game. Has he had that impact on the team? Where he is the difference between us winning and losing? No. The last 10 games proved it. He misses half the season. If Liverpool play 40 games this season, he plays 20, 25, he's averaging over half. You know what I mean? Of games played.
Yeah.
We don't need you to win. So if we don't need you to win, why are you in the team? Yes, you're a good, do you know what I mean? A good technician. You're a good option to go and have. If Liverpool are in the position to go and say, you know what, we can let you go on a free. Great. If he's your backup, then I mean you're living large. But can Liverpool afford that? Can they afford to have someone like that as a backup when you know that Saudi come calling? Look, I'm not saying get rid of Thiago for nothing or just let him go on a free. I'm not saying that. But if Saudi Arabia come and offer 35, 40 million, you'd be silly not to make a flip on the money that you bought him for. I thought we signed him for 25 or so.
Do you know what else is a big thing, JJ? Our most successful period was Thiago part of that.
No.
Because remember, people like say we're challenging for a quad. The season before we signed him, we were challenging for an invincible treble.
It's true.
And
he came into an already winning formula.
And I'll tell you this, JJ. If it weren't for the League Cup screwing us over, I think we would have won the League Cup. Because remember, we were playing in the Club World Cup and they said, no, we can't move our fixtures because you're in the Club World Cup. Even though they knew the season, that season at the start, we're playing in the Club World Cup. Where we had to play like Sepp Vandenberg, Harvey Elliott, like a 16-year-old Harvey Elliott, and a bunch of kids against Aston Villa. So basically, on the premise of that, we could have been challenging for a quad. So what's the difference? But people don't want to have the conversation, man.
Yeah, because you can see his ability, and I understand. Like, if you're to, when you look at it like from an ability perspective, he's arguably our best midfielder in terms of ability. But if he's not available, then he's not. Then that's my point. He's not. That's what I'm saying. He's just not.
No one can debate it. No one can debate ability. Ability-wise, he's our best midfielder since Stevie left.
Even then, I know we're saying since Stevie left, if you're talking about pure, just natural ability as a footballer, there's some things like Thiago. There's certain things that just Gerrard just can't do, unfortunately. Like Gerard's that's my point. Like the ability to just naturally, the natural ability to know, I'm going to control the ball like this, I'm going to pirouette like this. You're born with that. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just born with it.
Flair.
Yeah, the flair, it's just the natural movement. It doesn't look jinky. It doesn't look like you've had to work on it. It's just natural. It's like a dancer. But we don't see it enough. We don't see it enough. So, and 100%. The fact that he doesn't want to, we're not offering him an extension, I think says a lot as well.
Yeah, but people don't want to talk about that, man. People don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Big up realism, Jared. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, 28 years old from Lazio for Thiago, plus he won't be expensive. The thing is, I would have taken him, but seeing as though we got Dominic Szoboszlai, I feel as though we don't really need him anymore. We're not as much inclined to get him, if you get what I mean, JJ.
Yeah.
Because I feel
we're not as desperate.
I feel as though I think Milinkovic-Savic is more of a box-to-box compared to Szoboszlai, but profile and the kind of players that they are, they're very, very similar. I think Milinkovic-Savic is a lot better than Szoboszlai going defensively, but Szoboszlai, I think, is going forward is a bit better than him. So I think with that signing again, I don't know. I don't think we'll get him. Not Tyler Moore and Owen Beck has completed a season-long loan from move to Scottish Premiership side Dundee. Yeah, that must be Ian Rush's like nephew or something like that. Apparently, or something like that. Left back. I think he was a left back. Yeah, I think he was a left back. But yeah, big up to our realism, Jared. Big up Jamie Phillips. Football chats in the house. Big up your damn self, man. Big up. Realism, Jared saying Szoboszlai and McAllister now our best midfielders. Arguably, McAllister arguably is our best midfielder. It's not a comfortable conversation, but McAllister is arguably our best midfielder, especially from the last 12 months. He's definitely our best midfielder, given the fact that we've He's won a World Cup, an integral part of that team that won the World Cup, played every single game for his team, and he got an assist in the World Cup final. And the season they had with Brighton, helping them get to a place that they've never been before in their entire history. Like, there's a conversation. There is a conversation. Big up, Jamie. I don't think Thiago is actually as good as people say. Facts. I'll say this. Thiago is not the same player that we got from Bayern. I've seen Thiago Bayern. He's not the same player. I can guarantee you for a fact he's not the same player. Because the Thiago at Bayern was a lot more mobile than people think they was.
But even then, look, unless maybe I'm wrong, right? You probably watch more German football than I do. He didn't play every game.
He didn't.
He had one season. He had 2 seasons when Guardiola came in and wanted to play his role, and then when they won the Champions League. Apart from that, he hasn't been like Thiago wasn't like, oh my God, Thiago's the main man in midfield.
I'd argue once Guardiola left and is like the last year of Ancelotti, then people started talking about it. People weren't talking about him when Pep Guardiola was there. People only talked about him because Pep was like Thiago or nothing. If I don't get Thiago, then it's not going to work. People only started talking about Thiago's ability in the latter stage of his career. Not under Pep. I don't think people really watched what Thiago were about. I thought Klopp could find a way to make it almost like a double pivot, him and Fabinho, like the intelligence between one another just to win the ball back, and then they'll play it forward, and then Salah, Mane, Firmino, and whoever plays in that 10 will start to play forward. I thought I was going to see PSV Gini Wijnaldum in midfield. I thought I was going to see him. I thought I was going to see the Dutch version of Wijnaldum, not the workhorse. But you can't ask what you can't get for what you wish for, man. You can't. Big up to realize, yeah, of course, smash the like button, people. Like, comment, subscribe, share it out to all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Share it with your mum, your dad, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa, your dog, your cat. Big up JJ's cat. Your girl, your boy, whoever, man. Just get this thing shared, man. We're back again, and we're gonna be doing this for a good while, man. I guarantee you it's gonna be a regular.
So what's made you jump back on, man? You got to let the people know, man. They need to have some insight.
I already said my piece. I said, I did it for a little bit. I wasn't really in love with it. Like, I think maybe because of the fact Liverpool were just shit at that time, because we lost the title in the last day of the season, and we lost the Champions League final as well. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I fell out of love with it and everything. I wasn't really feeling it. And then after a while, I've been going on people's channels, and people have been saying, like, Egal and yourself and Mons have been like, just do your own thing, man. I know you've done your own thing, like the Ramstein. You just keep on doing it. Like, there's no point of you giving away your knowledge and everything and not getting something back. I love giving my knowledge to you guys and everything like that, but it's a case of you should be standing on your own 2 feet, if you get what I mean. And you're always into this stuff, man. And people are like, yeah, you gotta do it, man. And yeah, man. All of a sudden, a lot of voices saying the right things. You tend to do what you're told, innit? I'm just saying, man. So big up to everybody. Big up to everybody, man. Do you, man, think Flacco will be back to his usual standards next season? God knows, I don't know. I really don't know. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. Because I do
2 seconds. 2 seconds, Ram. I'm gonna come. 2 seconds, yeah.
Yeah. That's all right, man. It's all right. I honestly, I really don't know. I don't know, because the Flacco that we saw last season was incredibly bad. It was so bad, and no one expected him to be that bad. And even in the last 10 games of the season, he was all right, but he still wasn't the Flacco of old. So I don't know if we'll ever see that Flacco again because of the fact that he has been run into the ground, and just because of the intensity of the team. I don't know. I really don't know, man. I really don't know, Bracy. Psychedelic Scientist here saying, didn't Thiago have 0 GA last season? It's not good enough. I was never really a goal and assist merchant for Thiago because I knew what he's all about. He wouldn't get a lot of assists and a lot of goals. He'll probably pop up here and there, but the main thing for Thiago for me was the fact that he could dictate play, maybe break a couple passing lanes, break a defensive line, but he barely even did that as well. Maybe a little pirouette or a little quick turn and move to get past 2 to 3 players. He didn't even do that, man. It's just very, very, very disappointing, man. It shows how bad our midfield was when a 24-year-old from Brighton and a 22-year-old from RB Leipzig become our best midfielders, making the team stronger immediately. 100%. And that's what happens when you don't. That's what happens when you don't invest properly and you don't do your due diligence beforehand. You don't do what is necessary for a team to keep on challenging. And we saw it last season. Last season, our midfield was non-existent. If I was going to quote Hussam right here, donut midfield. There was nothing in the middle. Absolutely nothing midfield. Donut midfield, bagel midfield, whatever it's called. It was poor. And it does show the levels. It shows how bad we really are. And it took us for last season for people to start realizing how bad this midfield was. Granted, I'm glad that we got rid of the players like Ox, Naby, Milner, and players like that. I'm glad. Ram, I was absolutely crushed when we lost the UCL final in Paris. I hid from the social for like 3 months. Bro, I was on the terrace when we lost the final. And I had Colleen, KJ, Neeks, Javern, and Prime in the studio just giving me so much grief. It was pain. Absolute pain. I was the only Liverpool fan there. Not to forget Terry was also part of that. I literally had 5 loaned out Real Madrid fans right next to me giving me grief. That's how bad it was. It was so painful. But it is what it is. Depression was real. It was. We can't say it wasn't. It was painful. Flacco will be patchy, have good games and bad games. It will be a mixture, to be honest. It is not at the top level anymore. Legs have gone. 100% realism. 100%. Like his legs are gone. He can't do the run. He can't do the dogged work that he used to do back in the day. Granted, he didn't even do a lot of dogged work. He was just mainly his intelligence. But he don't even do that. And even his passing throughout, it's not good enough, man. It's not good enough. Not good enough at all, man. Revenite here. Big up Revenite in the house. Honestly, I think us missing out on Ugarte is hurting us now. We should have paid that release clause. What do you think, Ram? Look, I'm going to be real. I haven't seen a lot of Ugarte. The Ugarte stuff that I heard about was mainly from Tom. Yeah, Tom was mainly looking at a lot about Sporting Lisbon because of his stupid Ruben Amorim obsession. Yeah, from the sounds of things and what people are telling me about and who have watched him regularly on a regular basis, he was the type of player. Mobile. I think the only thing I could go off was the Arsenal game, and he was very good. He was sent off, but he was very, very good. Mobile, defensively sound, very tough to beat. He's a very, very, very good player. I'm surprised Liverpool didn't go after him. I know Chelsea were after him, but it didn't do anything about it. But yeah, it's a weird one. It is a very weird one in my opinion. I think a club like Liverpool, and seeing as though we've got scouts everywhere and going off this Moneyball system with a release clause, he should have been signed. He should have been signed. Since our Premier League win been sitting, we need a new midfielder every season. Phasing out our core, but Klopp has no way. We say we need a midfielder every season, phasing out our core, but Klopp has no way. Yeah, I guess so. But again, it doesn't help when you try to bring in a new midfield. You bring in your new midfield whilst you already have that established midfield in the first place. Like, so say for instance, if we get a Kefren Thuram would have been bought when Wijnaldum was still in the team, when Henderson was still in the team. If we're getting a Lavia, he should be when Henderson and people like that are in the team. The new crop of midfielders should come when the old crop are still in that team, and they're learning from the new crop are learning from the old crop. That's how I see it. That's how an active team, and that's what a well-run club should be doing as a football club. Revenite here saying Lavia isn't ready for me. I think he can do a job in the cuts, but I think Ugarte was ready to start now. Maybe so. Maybe so. Like again, I'll say it again. I haven't seen a lot of Ugarte. I'm going off word of mouth, but maybe so. I know he's a fully fledged Uruguayan international. He played in the World Cup as well, and he's played a lot of European games for Sporting Lisbon. Like maybe so. Maybe so. Big up KVJ. Big up yourself, man. Realism Jared again here saying plenty of other DMs. Alan Varela, I know they think he plays for Boca Juniors, and Florentino Luis as well from Benfica. There are options out there. There are options out there, man. It's just whether we need to. It's whether what Klopp needs, because I can't be dealing with a player that Klopp doesn't want and isn't the profile that would benefit the team. Like we did that with Thiago. I thought Thiago would be a different kind of player, but yeah, man, it is what it is, man. But yeah, big up JJ from KVJ, big up, and Florentino Luis, I would take maybe so, man, maybe so. But yeah, people, it's been a great show. It's been a great revival, and it's a great comeback. And yeah, man, looking forward to the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. Hopefully, Liverpool can still be doing their business and signing some players before the preseason start, ideally. But yeah, JJ, is there anything else you want to say? Anything you want to big up? Any content coming out soon?
Yeah, man. So obviously, big up to everyone in the comments, man, for supporting Ram on his return. You know what I mean, back into the space. So big up to Ram for doing it. And it takes a lot to, finally come out and do it. So big up to yourself. Yeah, thanks for having me on. So Jay, do you think we should sell Thiago now? Yes, I do, Brazy. I think if you can get money for him, knowing how Liverpool operate, I think yes. I think you sell him now, use the money, you can get someone else potentially. But yeah, man, really happy to be on. Yeah, do have some content actually coming. You know, it's taken me a while to get all the data and everything, but I'm going to be looking at the Szoboszlai deal and looking at the financials behind it. A lot of people, interested. How did Liverpool manage to pull this deal over the line? I mean, 60 million. How did Liverpool manage to get 60 M's up front? Where did the money come from? How was it financed? How was it sourced? All that type of stuff. So it's going to be dropping. It was supposed to be today. So to be fair, let's be honest. It was supposed to be yesterday, right? I'm going to be honest because I'm honest with everyone in the chat. It was supposed to be yesterday. Work hit the fan, so I couldn't do that. I couldn't hop on G-Stream. I've come back now after, sorting out yesterday's issues. Hopped on the stream, thought, you know what? Whilst we're doing this, I'm also going to, speak about the Szoboszlai deal tonight on the Jerry James show to find out that it's going to have to be moved to tomorrow because I'm going to have to head back out to work. So not looking great. But yeah, it will be tomorrow, people. So I'm going to obviously post it on there. A lot of you guys are subscribed already, so please make sure we're heading over there and liking it from early. Get the comments moving early. That way, we've got something to talk about. There's a lot of questions. I want a lot of you guys' thoughts. I want a lot of you guys' input as well. Ram, I'd be happy to have you on as well, as always. And yeah, that's about it, man. Big up to everyone. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a good Tuesday, I believe it is, yeah.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. But yeah, people, Szoboszlai, McAllister in. Thiago looks like he's going to stay. And yeah, we'll have to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, this is Ram and JJ, and we are out.